Welcome to the first episode of Understanding Politics. My name is Jadiel Kabiro, and obviously here with Professor Herman Manyora. A great channel. You have done a lot here since you started.
Thank you, Jed.
You know, most people would say, Prof, how are you able to do it? Most people your age, to be honest, cannot be able to understand Facebook, not leave alone YouTube. How did you do it?
Sisi ni wazee vijana. We are trying to keep pace. Let me tell you, in this city, if you don't keep pace, you'll go home. We want to stay here for a little while.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you are a political analyst. Yes. Some of the things that I see when you're doing your analysis and other political analysts, sometimes I'd say, these are my thoughts, you said them out loud. Sometimes I'd be like, how did you even think of saying that? And other times I'd say, this guy must have been paid. What do you think is important for people to know when it comes to your analytics and other people's analysis?
I think, first of all, is just understanding the politics of the day. Understanding society, understanding what makes politics ticks, following trends and events and making sense out of those. And certainly whenever you talk about things in public, you will offend a few people. Many will misunderstand, some will misunderstand you. But we try to maintain objectivity. We succeed with varying degrees of success.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's never about your personal interest in the analysis.
No. Look here, people will be surprised to know that what I talk about and what I believe could be very two different things.
Wait, what?
Yeah, definitely. I don't give what, for example, if I said Ruto has a problem, perhaps winning the election, or he may not win the election, it doesn't mean if I went to the voting booth, I will not vote for him. Maybe it's my choice. But it's like I'm doing a job.
You're just saying what you're saying.
Yeah. It's like I'm doing a job.
Some of the things that we want to do here is obviously get to know what you think about the analysis of Professor Herman Manyora in his Saturday's videos. And that's why we have a special segment called Comments. What's your say? And right now we're going to look at what people said when you talked about Ruto last week.
Yes.
Prof, there's this guy called Obed Nyaribu. Obed said DP Ruto should go to Uhuru and Baba and make deal with them for his future survival. Do you think there is a way those two guys, the three guys, can play to be able to help Ruto win 2022? Can they even have a coalition?
You see, it doesn't have to be 2022. But it has surprised me that these players, the major players, Raila, Uhuru and Ruto, have not seen that it will be in the interest of all of them, and certainly in the interest of the country, for them to sit down and play this thing together. It will be easy for everybody.
But you don't feel you don't understand why they're doing it.
Because I think one side, the handshake side, I think their intent on ensuring that Ruto is not anywhere in the political scene of this country. And the Ruto on his side is intent on winning 2022.
And obviously for now, he thinks he has the numbers. You said he doesn't have the numbers in his previous video. And Wilson Gachi, he said, it's too early to rule out Ruto, Prof. In my view, he's hanging around for the major breakout that's looming in the deep state, as all the six are waiting for their endorsements. Wait until they identify the flag bearer, then kita eleweka. Is there a twist in the political arena that might happen that will show us that Ruto will win the presidency?
It is too early. In a day, they say, in politics, they say a day is too long. So that guy is right. It is also right that there could be a fallout within the handshake. It's quite possible.
Yeah, Orengo mentioned it sometime back.
It's quite possible. It happens all the time. However, the reason why I don't see that happening is that these 6 or so people in the handshake, where would they go? Where would Mudavadi go if he left the handshake?
They'll have to choose
Where would Raila go? They are stuck. They are in this thing for the long haul. All of them plus Raila, they cannot. They won't go it alone.
Okay, Eli Ayeko. Is Ruto the proverbial dancer who takes to the dancing floor even before the drums are struck? You know, one of the few things that people started saying last year is that it was too early for the DP to start campaigning. Did this disadvantage him somehow?
It was not too early because that is the strategy he employed. Realizing that the handshake came to finish him, he chose to fight it head on.
Yeah.
So it was a choice he made. He could have kept quiet. He could have gone under. He could have worked with Raila and Uhuru. But he chose to fight them.
But did it disadvantage him?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so because in my own assessment, even when I'm sleeping at night and looking at these things, 2022 is gone.
You know, you mentioned numbers last week.
Correct.
You said he doesn't have the numbers because of what we saw in the houses.
Yeah.
And here is what Ali Besey said. He said Ruto had the numbers. He got 83 numbers out of 120. And these are the numbers of both Mudavadi, Wetangula, Gideon, Alfred Mutua, Kalonzo put together. And if he was able to get his 83, doesn't this mean that if these guys break out and they all vie, Ruto will win?
That's not how numbers work in politics. Politics is like football. You could play very well, but when the whole thing is over, it is a person who scored. So you don't say this 83. There's no number 2 in some of these things.
Yeah.
Nilijaribu sana nikafika number 2. Hakuna.
Yeah.
You either have it or you don't have it.
So is this a reflection though of 2022?
Correct. I have said and I maintain this.
Yes.
Ruto is a good politician. He's a good guy. He can even make a good president. Forget about many of these things people talk about. They could be there. But for 2022, it's gone.
Is there anything though that could help him in 2022, or is it a done deal?
A political accident.
What does that mean?
Things happen in life. All these guys are human beings. Some of them could die. Some of them, anything could happen. They are called political accidents.
If something
happened, it must be something out of the normal. But straight walking into 2022, let me tell you this. By the end of this year, as all MPs who support him, especially from Mount Kenya and these other places like Western, as they begin to fight for their political breath, going into defending their seats in August next year, he will be left alone.
When we come back, Prof, we talk about tribalism in the country. You've spoken about Mount Kenya. Most of your videos, you said why the Kikuyu nation will not vote for Ruto. This is something that you have been saying. Is this good for politics in our country when we speak about tribes? We'll be talking about that in the talk. Prof, this is the talk where we talk about everything mattering politics and of controversy to the country. Things that people want to know but are afraid of speaking about them. This is tribalism, for instance. When you say that Ruto has to get the Kikuyu nation to vote for him to become the president, what do you mean by that? Because sometimes we hear politicians speaking about tribes and we don't want to speak about tribes though. Do tribes matter in Kenya when it comes to politics?
You know, in politics, especially in elections, it's about demographics. You target a certain segment of society and another and maybe another. Unfortunately for us, for every politician who wants to be an MP, whatever it is, or a president especially, there's only one demographic, and that demographic is tribe. So tribe is at the center of our elective politics, and you can't run away from it.
Do you think people can vote without looking at the tribes they come from or the tribes of the politicians that are vying?
This is our wish as Kenyans, especially those of us who love this country. It's our wish. But we are realistic enough to know up to this day and maybe a couple of other electoral circles to come, this may not happen. So we are working with it knowing not necessarily it will be permanent, but it is here because what can replace it is not very easy to find. Yeah, you see, in America they work around blue collar, white collar, job, you know, evangelicals, young, educated and uneducated, white, Latinos. We don't have those kind of demographics here. So it's tribe, and there's nothing wrong with it unless you use it negatively.
How then can tribe be used negatively? Because we saw a point in which there was the post-election violence back in 2007. Was this influenced by tribe, in your opinion? Because we saw there was a certain way of people being displaced from the regions in which they don't come from. How does tribalism play in the negative side of politics, and how can it be avoided?
I think for 2007, there is this fact that many people might want to run away from. The rallying cry or organizing call for 2007 was 41 versus 1.
Yes.
So it's like, it wasn't said directly, but it was there in the air, that it was everybody against the Kikuyu or Mount Kenya.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So naturally, I wasn't surprised when the violence flared up. I wasn't surprised, because that is how the country had been psyched, that we must get rid of these people who have been in power, who have been harassing this country for long, who have amassed wealth, who are to be found everywhere in this country, who are dominating business, that kind of stuff. And it is certainly bad. And I think even something near that happened in 2013.
A little bit.
This time was about 42 versus something versus 2. So long as you organize your politics in that manner, it is always possible that violence could happen.
How can this then be avoided? And the future for the demographic that we're going to see in the next 10 years?
Unfortunately, our education system doesn't produce thinkers. Because you see, now we have a serious number or size of educated people in this country. We are talking about almost 600,000 students in universities. You know, graduating almost hundreds of thousands or 100,000 and above.
Yeah.
This year, we are admitting, this current year, we are admitting 140 something thousand first years. So one would think with all these educated young men and women, this country, but unfortunately our education can't help us. So we are a little stuck here for a while. Yeah, but BBI is trying to address that. You look at the BBI, this idea of kind of what people call expanded executive, working on the structure of governance.
Yes.
When you have those 5 slots, it is assumed that somebody gunning for the president will look for somebody from this region to be prime minister, another deputy prime minister, another region.
We will talk about the BBI in our subsequent shows.
Yes.
But when you look at tribes, I heard you mention once that people, when they go to the voting booth, the engineering them goes. You said that once, and you said people tend to vote based on tribes. What would you say then about the guys that don't vote based on tribe? What do they have that everyone else should have? Because honestly, there are people, and we cannot generalize it.
I've not seen them. You know, we live in this country. I have not seen those people with all his ideas couldn't get, say, 500,000 votes from Mount Kenya or Central Province. It's unlikely Uhuru, with his ideas of digital, wide, Jubilee, couldn't get 200,000 votes.
But at least he got some.
From Nyanza. That tells you, if Raila got perhaps 10,000 votes from Central, maybe there are Luos who work there or Luyas. They are foreigners. So these are facts we can see, but we run away from. We haven't started voting. Even you young people, and I challenge you, even you who are educated, I said when a Kenyan enters the voting booth, the primordial instinct takes over, and the engineer in him disappears. He becomes an ordinary Kikuyu.
So, you haven't talked about the solution then. Yes. What is the solution?
The solution one would have hoped is education. Education doesn't seem to be helping. The solution I've told you is BBI is attempting to do that. But I think in the final analysis, it is a pain. It is a pain that will show Kenyans a way. When you go to sleep hungry, as it is increasingly becoming the case, it does not matter whether it's a Kikuyu president and you are a Kikuyu voter.
Won't this bring a revolution?
Yes, that's what I've said. This country is looking at a revolution. If we don't reorganize and re-engineer our socio-political life.
Isn't that dangerous?
It is dangerous. It is dangerous, and it is really dangerous. But it has helped many other countries get out of this quagmire of tribe and inertia.
Let's get into my favorite segment, looking at some of your views on politics and some of these politicians. This is Would You Rather, Prof, taking a look at the personal life of these politicians, how you understand them. From what you see, maybe you've met some of them you just see them on TV and you think, this is how I would relate them on a personal level. We're starting with, would you rather live with Raila Odinga or live with Ruto?
Well, after defining what living means.
Yeah, staying in the same house.
And in the same house, look here, how would you live in the same house with another man? But, well, understanding what you mean, I think the choice is obvious. I think we will have to give it to Raila.
Why Raila?
That many people resonate with Raila. If it wasn't even for tribe blocking people from really appreciating Raila, I don't think there can be a politician in this country who could match Raila? He has done so much for this country.
I think he has a lot, even with when you're staying with him. I think he'll have a lot of good stories to laugh through the night.
Yes. You can't sleep.
Yeah?
There will be so much to talk about. I once talked to him and he gave me stories and I said, I want to write his history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Correct.
Would you rather have Murkomen, the senator, or Mutula, the senator, as your driving instructor? You've gone to whichever driving school and you told, hey, choose one. Who do you choose?
I think Murkomen is too erratic. I'll choose Mutula Junior.
Last one.
Yes.
You've gone to surgery, Prof. You have two ladies, best surgeons in the country. Anne Waiguru, the governor, and Charity Ngilu. And you're told, choose one surgeon to operate on you. Who will you choose?
Other things remaining equal, I will definitely choose Charity. She will be more experienced. I will feel safer in her hands.
Aren't you influenced by the life of Anne Waiguru and her
She's
scandals?
a beautiful lady. She's nice. She's hardworking. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'll go with the experience of Charity Ngilu.
Yeah.
And she's a performer. She delivers. She's practical. She's pragmatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time for this. This has been Understanding Politics with me, Jadiel Kabiro, here with Professor Herman Manyora. Started the channel. It's doing really well. Thanks for having me too here.